This is the ADHD Entrepreneur's Playbook, the podcast for anyone ready to embrace their ADHD and build something amazing. I'm Corey Eckert, an ADHD entrepreneur who's been through the ups, downs, and sideways pivots of hustling with a brain that doesn't follow the rules. Here you'll find tips, tools, and inspiration to harness your unique strengths and create the business and life you want. Let's get to work. Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of the ADHD Entrepreneur's Playbook. Honestly, I'm so excited you're here. Starting something new like this always feels a little chaotic. You know, the good kind of chaos, like when you rearrange your entire living room at midnight because you suddenly got inspired. That's the vibe we're bringing here. So let me give you a quick lay of the land. This podcast is for anyone with ADHD, or even if you just think like someone with ADHD who's out there trying to turn their big ideas into something real. Whether that's starting a side hustle, scaling a business, or just figuring out how to get started while juggling everything without losing your mind. Yeah, we're going to cover all that. I know firsthand how overwhelming it can be to have a brain that feels like it's firing on all cylinders all the time, or none at all. But here's the thing: ADHD isn't a flaw, it's a superpower. And when you learn how to lean into it instead of fighting against it, you can create some pretty amazing things. So let me tell you a little about why I'm here doing this. Like a lot of ADHD entrepreneurs, my journey hasn't exactly been a straight line. It's more like, well, imagine a drunk squirrel trying to navigate a corn maze. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's felt at times. I've had my fair share of business wins and just as many fails. I've started things on a whim because they felt exciting, burned out on others, and reinvented myself more times than I can count. But along the way, I learned some pretty important lessons, like how to actually finish what I start sometimes, how to work with my ADHD instead of fighting it, and why it's okay to pivot when something just isn't working. One of the biggest turning points for me was realizing that ADHD wasn't something I needed to fix to be successful. It's the reason I've been able to come up with creative solutions, adapt to challenges, and keep going even when things felt impossible. And that's why I'm here, to share what I've learned so you don't have to figure it all out the hard way. This podcast is about more than just tips and tricks. It's about creating a space where we can talk openly about what it's really like to build something as an ADHD entrepreneur. The wins, the struggles, the moments where you're ready to throw in the towel, and the ones where you realize, hey, maybe I'm actually pretty good at this. I wanted this to feel like a conversation between friends because let's be real, the internet is full of advice from people who seem like they've got it all together, but most of us, we're figuring it out as we go, and that's okay. In the episodes ahead, we're going to dive into everything from productivity hacks that actually work for ADHD brains, to how to choose the right side hustle, to dealing with imposter syndrome when your brain won't stop overthinking. And yeah, there'll probably be a few squirrel moments along the way because, well, ADHD. But before I wrap up today, I want to leave you with one idea to think about. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all the ideas in your head, or exhausted because you don't know where to start, here's a simple trick that's helped me. Just pick one thing. Not forever, not even for the next month, just for the next week or even a day. Give yourself permission to focus on one idea and see what happens. Don't overthink it. Don't try to make it perfect. Just start, because here's the truth. The hardest part is always getting out of your own head and taking that first step. All right, that's it for today's episode. If you've stuck with me this far, thank you. It means a lot. I hope this gave you a little inspiration, or at least made you feel a little less alone in the chaos. If you've got a question about ADHD, entrepreneurship, or side hustles, I'd love to hear from you. Head over to sidehustlestrong.com. There's a link in the description, and submit your question. It might just show up in a future episode. And if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I've got some great episodes lined up, and I can't wait to share them with you. Until next time, keep leaning into your superpower. You're capable of more than you think. Let's get to work.